Hi and welcome to another live stream here from the Logosol headquarters in Härnösand, Sweden. Today or this afternoon we are going to have a short look on some of our sawmills here. We have the timber jig with the guide rail package. We have the F2 and F2 Plus, and we also have the B1001 bandsaw mill here as well. And today we have a guest with us, Marcus Lindgren.
Yes.
Timmerman, how do you say that in
Yeah,
English?
log builder.
Log builder. That's easy.
Yes, log builder. That's even easier in English.
So, so easy. And if you have some questions about building log homes or renovate log houses, please ask them in the chat. And as always, if you want to know more about Logosol and our products, please visit our webpage. Go to logosol.com for prices and more information. So let's get started, or we can tell you that the live streams, we have done more than 70 live streams already this year. If you want to see the previous ones, you can watch them online at our Facebook page, Logosol Portable Sawmills, or on our YouTube channel, and that's also Logosol Portable Sawmills. So let's start with the timber jig. The timber jig is a really, let's say, perhaps not cheap, but it's an economical, it's a small investment to start milling your own boards and planks from logs. And the simplest or the easiest is just the timber jig itself. It's a jig that you attach to your chainsaw. You get these spacers with the timber jig, so you can attach it on your guide bar bolts on basically any type of chainsaw, as long as it's got 2 guide bar bolts and the nuts aren't fixed to the cover on the side. You need to have a chainsaw that's at least 60 cubic centimeters and 4.5 horsepower. So that's actually the cheapest sawmill we have, and that's we call it an ultra portable sawmill. And as you can see, it's really portable, and you can get really nice boards and planks out of it. With the manual, there is an instruction on how to build your own guide rail with just planks. So it's easy to start off and build your own guide rail and start milling your own lumber. There's also an upgrade you can do, the guide rail package, which gives you a bit more accuracy, and it's a bit easier to set up instead of using the home-built guide rail. So a very good system to start with if you're interested in producing lumber with from logs, and from logs that you have yourself, or if you take care of logs for someone else. And of course, going from the timber jig, if you find this interesting and you really enjoy doing something with your logs instead of just making firewood out of it, it's really easy to upgrade later on to the F2 or the F2 Plus, for example. The timber jig with guide rail package is suitable for logs up to 50-60 centimeters in diameter, approximately. So, but we can make a
cut.
Yeah. Is it? Yep. It's set for the next cut.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well done.
Yeah.
When it
We
started.
start.
Yeah, that gave us an accurate 1-inch board.
That's great. We actually have had some great comments from the first live stream we did in Swedish. We had examples of customers that bought the timber jig and only used the timber jig and,
Yeah.
and had it still, and take care or took care of a few logs at a time, and just had it for these simple tasks whenever they had a log they needed to take care of. They just took the timber jig out into the forest, took care of the log. And then we also had an example of a customer who told us that they started off this summer or spring with the timber jig, and they really got caught to it, so they actually bought an F2 sawmill and really found milling your own boards and planks interesting, and they actually chose to upgrade,
Yeah.
which is great. So I mean, there are two use cases. Of course, the timber jig is a good product as it is, and you can use it if you have a few logs that you need to take care of from time to time.
Good way to start.
Good way
Try.
to start and get the feel for
Yeah.
it. How does it work to mill your own lumber? And then, of course, if you see the use of it and you really, like we do, when you really feel how nice it is. I mean, it's a special thing to make your own planks and boards. And then move up to the F2 or the F2 Plus sawmills, which gives you even better precision. It gives you better work conditions. You have the log in a very good position. It's easy to handle the log. And you can choose to have the chainsaw attached to the carriage that slides on the guide rail. It's so much easier and so much nicer to work with, and gives you, I mean, a lot of benefits. The F2 sawmill comes standard length as 4 meter. You can of course extend it. Marcus here has a sawmill you can mill 11.5 meters
Yeah,
with yours.
That's
so
right.
it's
that's right.
3 sawmills connected together.
Yes, three sawmills connected together and shortened with 1 meter to get log lifters in more suitable distance for the way I'm milling.
So of course using it standard length, but you also hear that it's possible to mill really long logs with the F2 or the F2 Plus chainsaw mills. You can use a petrol chainsaw, the same attachment as you do on the timber jig. So a chainsaw that's at least 60 cubic centimeters, 4.5 horsepower, with removable nuts on the side cover. You can attach it to the F2. The F2 always comes with the chainsaw carriage, the F2 and the F2 Plus. You can choose to upgrade with the bar nose support and also the crank feed, which we have here. What do you say about the crank feed? It's a bit more
Well, I think
comfortable
yeah.
to crank the carriage forward. Standard, it's a push feed. And the F2 can handle logs up to 50 centimeters in diameter and also comes with these XL log clamps. Looks like this. Gives you a really firm grip of the log. These XL log clamps can also be bought as an accessory for the older chainsaw mills, the M7 and M8, and the Farmer's M8 chainsaw mill as well. And they come as standard on the F2 and F2 Plus. You can choose to have the petrol chainsaw, or we also offer electric versions, 3-phase motors, 3-phase 400 volt. We have the ES5 and the ES8 that you can see over here. This is the 8 kilowatt electric chainsaw, and it also comes, it's the same bar nose support as on the chainsaw carriage. So if you purchase the bar nose support for the chainsaw carriage and later on upgrade to the electric chainsaw, you can use the same bar nose support on the electric saw. The electric saw comes with 2 different feedings. You can choose to have the simple crank feed, which is a walk-along feed. So you walk along the electric chainsaw while you move it forward, just as on the petrol chainsaw. On the electric chainsaw, you can choose to have a remote crank feed as well. And that's what we have on the F2 Plus here. So we're going to show you that. And that means that you're standing on the end of the sawmill and crank the saw unit forward and back. So really easy to operate, and you don't have to stand next to the chainsaw in the sawdust. So a very good solution. The F2 Plus is built to be more sturdy than the F2. It can handle logs up to 70 centimeters in diameter. And we also have another benefit with the F2 Plus, and that's the guide rail. You can actually leave it connected with the diagonal supports and have it connected when you transport it. If you want to split the F2 Plus up into transportable pieces, you can actually lift off the complete guide rail assembly, and it's adjusted and ready, and you can just remove the log lifters and put them separately. So really easy to transport, and when you're on site you can just put the log lifters down and put the already assembled and set up guide rail and just bolt it together and start milling. On the F2, on the other hand, you need to remove the diagonal struts, which means that you need to do some setup before you can start milling. So it takes a bit longer. But anyway, both 2 very versatile sawmills, up to 50 centimeters and up to 70 centimeters. And they are really easy to use. So let's make a cut on the F2 Plus to give you an idea of the cutting speed.
Should we make one more so we make one real cut?
Yeah, or we can, should we flip it up and cut from the other way?
Yeah. We can take it here.
I can take the other side. Oh, that looks really good.
Yeah.
Really good. I think the best things with this chainsaw mill is it's so easy to get a good result.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, as long as you have a sharp chain, nothing can go wrong, really.
Yeah.
We get some questions.
Yeah, we have some questions. Perhaps the questions are already answered in the chat, but if it's available in Slovenia, yes, it is. Both the timber jig and the F2 and F2 pluses are available in Slovenia. And good evening from Bhutan. Cool. So that's the F2 and F2 Plus, really easy to use chainsaw mills, and you can find more information if you go online to logosol.com. You can find prices and more information about the products, more technical data as well. Of course, as Marcus said, it's really easy to use a chainsaw mill, and it only requires a reasonably strong chainsaw and a sharp chain, and that's it. Of course, there is some tips and tricks to get started, but that's what we are here for. And you can find a lot of information online if you want to go into YouTube and watch our videos that we have already there, or there's other online content as well. It's really easy to get started and really easy to work with. And one of the reasons to why the chainsaw mills are easy to use is mainly because of the click system, the lifting system, which is in 1/4 of an inch increments, which is exactly the curve. So it's really easy to calculate the curve when you are cutting boards and planks. And that's why on our bandsaw mills as well, we have chosen to have a fixed step system for locking the saw head. So every increment is 1/8 of an inch, and that's basically the same as the kerf. So the same goes for the bandsaw mill. It's really easy to calculate every cut, and you know what the kerf is going to be. So fixed steps gives you an exact dimension for every cut. So on our side here we have the B1001 bandsaw mill. This one is equipped with the 23 horsepower Vanguard motor. It is also available with the 3-phase motor, the 12 kilowatt. And this machine that we have here is equipped with the trailer kit, a tow board, and the XL log clamping system for handling these really large logs. So, but let's make a cut with the B1001 as well, so you can get an idea of the cutting speed. As you can see, it cuts a bit faster, and that's mainly due to the kerf. Since the kerf is less, about 50% less on the bandsaw mill, it goes a bit faster to cut. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you can mill a log faster on a bandsaw mill versus a chainsaw mill. If you haven't seen it already, we have a really cool live demonstration when we have a competition between the F2 Plus chainsaw mills, one with petrol chainsaw and one with the electric chainsaw, and also the bandsaw mill. And if you watch that live demo, you will see that we actually cut the log at the same speed with the chainsaw mill, and that's mainly due to the handling of the log. Since it's up here, you can reach and you can do everything from one side. You operate the chainsaw unit from here, you turn the logs, and you take care of the boards all from the operator side. And on a bandsaw mill, there's a bit more walking past the saw head to make all the changes to the log before next cut. So you're a bit more effective on our chainsaw mills, which was really cool to see.
Yeah,
however, what we also did find out was that we get more boards out of the log with the bandsaw mill due to the relatively small kerf. So, but check that out. One of our live demos, I can't remember when it was, a couple of months ago.
A couple of months ago, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really cool demo that we wanted to do for a long time. So, but that was a short introduction on the timber jig with guide rail system, the F2, F2 Plus, and the bandsaw mills. We have 3 versions of the bandsaw mills. We have the B751 and B751 Pro, which are capable of milling logs up to 75 centimeters in diameter, and the B1001 can handle logs up to 1 meter in diameter. And we have the B751 is our in-step model among the bandsaw mills, and it's suitable for most actually. But if you want to upgrade further in the future, have a look at the B751 Pro or the B1001. And as I said previously, you can find more information if you go to logosol.com. And also you can find dealers and distributors from other countries than Sweden, of course. Just choose your country where you're from and you can find the contact details to the dealer or distributor we have in your country. If you want to reach out to Logosol directly, you email to info@logosol.com, or you can also give us a call. If you go to our webpage, you can find the telephone number on there as well. So, Marcus, you had something you wanted to show us.
Yes, I wanted to show you some tricks how I set up the logs to for the first cut.
Yes, you have some templates that you're using.
I love templates.
Why do you use templates?
I use templates because it's easy to get accurate planks and boards. When I set up a log in the chainsaw mill, I've been using this kind of Logosol chainsaw mill since the middle of the 90s. So for about almost 25 years, I've been using this kind of logs, and I find out really quick that it's much faster for me to use templates for setting the logs. And I have templates for every set of logs that I'm going to cut. If I want to cut boards, I've got one kind of template. If I want to cut planks, I got another one. When I cut logs for log house building, I got another kind of templates, but all of them looks like this.
Yeah.
It's only the measurements that changes. I have a board here, and the width of this board is the same as the distance between the ruler and the bar. From this, I take the measurements of what I want to do. In this case, I want to do with this birch log. I think it's 2-inch boards. That's very useful from birch. And if I take 1-inch board on the side, that gives me a good utbyte. How do you say that in English?
Efficiency.
That's the most efficient way to cut the logs. Yeah, sorry.
You get the most out of the log.
Get the most out of the
minimal
log.
waste.
When I set up these measurements, I use this kind of ruler, because this distance is the same as the curve on the chainsaw bar. So just take the measurements, what I want to do with this distance between. For example, like this, we are cutting a 2-inch board. Then we have the curve.
But you make a template for each type of.
Yeah, if I want to cut the 2-inch boards, I can use this template for most dimensions.
Yeah.
And when I take in the measurements, I just put a nail through the
where the center
through
is.
the template where the center is.
Where the center is.
Can you give me please hand me the hammer. And then I take this nail in the center of the log. And place this board on the ruler. I have a bolt through this hole that gives me this
Like a lever.
like a lever, yes. Then I just lift the log lift until this is level with the sawmill on both ends.
Yeah.
I have a similar template on this side.
So you're using the center of the log as the reference, and
Yes.
now you have the equal distance. And this is where the guide bar cuts.
Yes, the guide
the-
bar cuts exactly here.
Yeah. And that way you get how many 2-inch boards down to the center?
The goal was to get from the center of the log. I have to go on this side. From the center of the log, that's here, I want 1 2-inch board. I got the curve of the bar. I get another 2-inch board. That's a 2-inch, that's a 2-inch, and a 1-inch on the top.
Yeah. And this kind of template is it looks really easy to do yourself.
Yeah, it's really easy. It's just 2 boards. And on the older models of the Logosol mills, the distance is not the same as on the newer ones between the
Guide rail and
the guide
bar.
rail
Mhm.
and the bar. So you have to do this according to what sawmill you have.
Yeah.
And that's really easy, just to put the board on the guide bar and see where the bar cuts it.
Yeah.
So now it's set for the first cut.
Is it me?
Yeah, you can do the milling. I think that's your job.
Most fun. This is the most fun part of it. If I can get this start.
I saw a comment in the chat about the stream being in English and not in German. Our colleagues at Logosol Germany are actually doing their own live streams, so keep an eye out on logosol.de and you can find the next live stream that they are running in German.
So
So
that's the first cut.
So that's the first cut. So
And,
what do we do next?
What we do, we raise it 1 inch. And how do we raise it 1 inch?
I think we raise it 4 clicks plus 1, so 5 clicks in total.
Yep.
5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
6, I think. So.
So and that's because we have the increments is 1/4 of an inch, the kerf is 1/4 of an inch. If we raise it up only 4 clicks for 1 inch, we don't take the kerf into account. So that's why we're adding 1 extra click.
Yeah.
So 5 clicks up, that's 1 inch.
Yep. One more cut.
Mr. Operator.
So that's the first board.
Really nice. I mean, birch is a really beautiful wood.
Yeah.
And what do we do next?
Next we take one more cut.
One more cut,
Yep.
and
We take a 2-inch board.
a 2-inch board,
Yep.
and 2 inches is 8 clicks, and then
Yes.
1 for the curve, so 9 clicks up. That was 10, right?
Yeah.
Yep, 9 clicks.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Well done, Anders.
Thank you.
We had a question in the chat about the chain we're using, and this is a ripping chain. It's a steel brand. It's a steel narrow curve 63 PMX chain. So it's got a top plate angle of 10 degrees.
Yeah.
3/8 pico pitch and 1.3 millimeter gauge or 0.050 gauge. Really nice. You can tell that it's a bit frozen.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a bit harder to cut than normally. But the chainsaw we're using here is the Steel MS661, and it's a beast.
Well, yeah,
90
absolutely.
cubic centimeters, 7.5 horsepower. Okay, so next step. Now we have a 1-inch board and a 2-inch plank.
Yeah. Next step, I use to turn the log over.
Mm.
That gives us a much easier way to work.
Yeah.
And for calculating the math, we can just flip it over, and we can just calculate it in the end of the log.
Yeah.
Now we have the log set level to the center of the log. And we want to make a 2-inch board. We want to make 3 2-inch boards.
Yeah.
So the easiest way is just to mark it on the log. A 2-inch, that's 8 clicks. And then we have an extra one for the curve. And then we have, we can just set it to 2-inch, 2-inch. And another one for the curve.
We also had a question about using a dust extraction system, and of course if you want to use the sawmill inside, it's a good idea to connect a chip extractor to the end of the where the sawdust goes out from the chainsaw to take care of the most part of the sawdust anyway.
Now, you can see here how I'm just calculating this.
Mm.
I used to do this on a piece of paper, and then I have it on my template.
Mm.
Here we have a 2-inch board, a 2-inch board, a 2-inch, and a 1-inch. That gives us 7-inch
Mm.
plus 1, 2, 3 clicks. So we're going to set
7 3/4
7 3/4. We're going to set
the scale on.
the scale on.
Mm.
So if we set the scale on 7 3/4, we get even in.
And that's also a good way of calculating. I've seen customers do the same. They actually have a prepared sheet.
Yeah.
If they want to do 1-inch boards or 2-inch boards, they have the 2-inch, 4 1/4,
Yeah.
5 1/2. So they have what do you call it? Tabell.
Like,
Table. No, it is.
No, I can't.
I like a schedule.
Yeah, they have a list with
A list.
the
Yeah.
possible measurements that you
Yeah.
need to hit to get the correct board in the bottom. So of course, if you have that already, it's really easy to just measure it, and you see that okay, I have to put it on 7 3/4.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
I know that I'll get the correct
Yeah, I used to mark that on the template, so
Yeah.
it's really easy when I turn it.
And now it's since we have the cut side underneath, it's really important that the log lifters are on the same height. Otherwise, we'll make a wedge out of everything. So when you have the rough side on the bottom, and you have a bit of the thinner and the bigger end on the log, or you have a taper on the log, you can have the log lifters on different heights. But of course now, when one side is cut and it's down, then you need to have the log lifters on the correct, on the same height.
Yeah.
So,
And that's why it's so easy just to count the click. Then you never have to look at scale. to
no,
see-
exactly. When you have the taper and the logs
On
on
the-
the,
on the
log
different-
lifters are on different
Yeah.
positions, as long as you lift them equally,
Yeah.
you will cut straight every time. But now when we turn it, they need to be on the same height. So let's give it a go.
More.
I'm gonna check the chat again.
Yep. So then we can check to see if we hit the mark, and I think we're pretty close.
Almost.
Almost
Pretty close.
Pretty close.
Almost pretty close.
Almost pretty close.
Maybe I lifted too much, but that we'll see.
We got a question if you have a social media account, Marcus.
Yes, I have.
And what's it called in English?
It's called Trakultur in English. And I have this Instagram account.
You have Instagram as well?
Trafilur.
Yes. Someone will write that in the chat instead of me spelling it out. So Marcus, the log builder that we have as a guest here, has both an Instagram account and a Facebook account. So if you want to check out what he's doing, go check that out, and we'll write the names in the chat. So now we got the 1-inch board, or just a slab.
No, we got the slab.
We got the slab. Okay, so
Yeah.
and now we're
Maybe we're a little too high, but we see that.
now we're 2, 4, 6, 6.5, or 6.5.
Yeah.
6.5. So that should leave us with the
Should be
2-inch.
Yeah.
Should be right.
If Marcus calculate right.
Yes, I
We're
mean
gonna
we
blame
can.
Marcus for
That's a
everything.
good thing by having a guest. We can
Yeah.
just blame everything on the guest for our mistakes.
Yes.
So, Mr. Operator.
Do we have time?
Oh yes, we have time. Plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
We can take one more cut.
Yeah, the final cut.
Final cut. I'll stand on the safe side of the sawmill.
Beautiful. Very nice. That's it for today. We had no more questions in the chat. I hope you found it interesting to get some tips and tricks and to watch our different sawmills. The timber jig with guide rail package, the F2, F2 Plus, and the B1001. And thank you so much, Marcus, for coming here
Yeah, thank you.
and sharing your wisdom with us. And hopefully see you next time.
Yep, see you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye bye.